I'd like to welcome you in the first of a video series covering topics around franchising. My name is Vasilis Georgiou. I'll be the presenter. Please send follow-up questions to vgeorgiou@franchoice.com for a one-on-one consultation regarding franchising to help you find the right franchise. Register at franchoice.com/vgeorgiou. A little bit on my background. I am the president of Crossroads Business Brokers, a full-service business brokerage firm for the last 11 years. I've done over 60 transactions, selling companies in various industries, the full cycle from packaging a business, marketing it, all the way down to the deal making and the escrow closing. I'm also a national franchise consultant with FranChoice, advising hundreds of franchise candidates over the years as to finding the right franchise that fits their objectives and goals. I'm also a former multi-unit owner-operator of a home care franchise in Orange County, California. My wife and I invested in 5 territories back in 2007, built it into a national business, and finally exited last year with a pretty healthy valuation. I'm here to share my experiences regarding my franchise ownership as well. In prior life, I was a former senior manager with KPMG Consulting, also known as Bearing Point, advising mid-market companies in many industries on issues of operations strategy and systems implementations. In this presentation, we're going to look at the 3 employment choices, advantages, disadvantage of each, staying the course with the job, going it alone as an entrepreneur, or partnering with success through a franchise. We're also going to look at business ownership by the numbers. We're going to look at a case scenario, contrasting business ownership, franchise ownership with a career opportunity. Advantages and challenges of a job. Of course, the obvious advantages of a job is the steady paycheck, benefits that come with the job, relative security. Challenges: defined earnings potential limited to the salary, limited freedom, you have to answer to the boss, diminishing benefits. More and more companies are squeezing benefits out of employees to save cost. Lack of relative security. Companies have no problem downsizing and shifting operations elsewhere. And at the end of the day, any wealth that you're building is really building for the company, not yourself personally. Advantages, challenges of entrepreneurship. Advantages, growing your own idea, being your own boss, controlling your own day-to-day destiny. Challenges, of course, is coming up with the idea in the first place, developing and executing the plan to get you to your revenue. Most times you would need additional skills and talents to complement yours. You're going to have to invest and spend money to acquire that talent. Difficult to decide on direction sometimes. There's so many choices, so many competitive pressures. Startups do have a high failure rate, and really there's a risk factor here that is definitely creating an unpredictability. Advantages of franchising: you're stepping into a brand name, you're leveraging the experience of the system and the franchisor, you're given a turnkey system, training, support infrastructure. Group buying power: in many cases all franchisees come together, and that effectively generates more savings, especially if you have to buy products. You can benefit from research and development provided by the franchisor when it comes to competition and trends in the industry. Franchisees tend to create peer groups, cooperative advertising that allows you to penetrate the local marketplace less expensively than doing it alone. No prior experience necessary. In my case, we really didn't have any background in home care. We were able to leverage the franchisor training and have clients within a month of launching the operation. Rapid expansion, scalability with relatively minimal capital compared to what it would cost you to buy an existing business and pay a multiple of the earnings that usually defines the valuation of an existing business. You're really entering into a brain trust. Franchisees have a vested interest to see you be successful. The franchisor has a vested interest. So it's a collaborative environment. And of course, brand name efficiencies. You're really walking into a client with the backing of a national brand, a national presence, much better than being a standalone mom and pop operation. Challenges of franchising: you have to work within a system. You have to follow the franchisor system. Some people have a little bit of a trouble with that. They're more quote-unquote free spirits. If you're not willing to follow the system, perhaps franchising is not a good option. There's always potential risk, even though franchising eliminates some of that risk, provides you more education before you make your decision, more due diligence opportunities. You have to be prepared to work with the franchisor and follow their restrictions. Be aware of false expectations. Even though the franchisor provides a lot of infrastructure, a lot of support, at the end of the day, the local franchisee has to execute. You have to manage your local business. You have to make it happen. And of course, let's not forget the ongoing franchise fees that will continue in perpetuity long after perhaps when the franchisee feels that they've outgrown the need of the franchisor. It's still an obligation that will continue. Let's look at a case study for franchise ownership versus employee job. As an entrepreneur, let's assume that you have to invest $125,000 to get your franchise up and going. Could be more, depending on the type. As an employee, you're not going to have any out-of-pocket startup costs. Year one, let's assume that the franchise operation generates $200,000 in sales with a $20,000 seller's discretionary earnings, SDE. Let me take a moment and define SDE. It's also known as the adjusted net. It's defined as the total owner benefit where the net profit of the business is adjusted by adding back items such as depreciation, interest, one-time or discretionary expenses, owner salary, etc. So for the sake of argument, the first year the business generates $20,000 SDE. As an employee, you get a salary of $100,000. Second year, not unrealistic to expect $400,000 in gross, $660,000 in SDE, with the employee getting a little bit of a raise at $105,000. Third year, not unrealistic to expect $500,000 in gross for the business and about $100,000 in sales discretionary. Contrast that to $110,000 in salary for the employee. As you can see, year three, the business is generating about the same amount of earnings, quote-unquote owner benefit, as a salary. But taking it a step further, there is a value creation here. The franchise asset in the last 3 years that was generated could be calculated as a multiple of the SDE, usually 3 times. So it's not unrealistic to expect that the franchise operation has a resale value of about $300,000 to $350,000. Contrast that to the employee that generated no residual value for their efforts. And again, taking it even further, the franchisee might be a multi-unit operator, in which case you can see that the value of the asset is a multiple of the number of units. In conclusion, investing in a franchise, if done right, can offer a very viable alternative as a career option. Again, please don't hesitate to send me emails with questions at vgiorgio@franchoice.com and register for my one-on-one consultation at franchoice.com/vgiorgio. Thank you for participating today.